Hey, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce for the Free America Radio Network for your commentary of the day. It's not a 2-minute commentary. Those are later. So it is the 21st of July, 2014. And my commentary is this. We have a crisis at the border. We have a huge, massive crisis at the border. And all it is, the Democrats want additional voters so they can take over everything. Okay, that's number one. The other part of this commentary, I'm going to talk about the situation in the Ukraine, which is still on fire over there. I mean, everybody's fighting, and Russian President Vladimir Putin has, said what he's going to do about that. And I look at it this way. Then we have the Middle East. That's the other part of this commentary. The Middle East, you've got, who's the guy's name over there? You have Netanyahu over there. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Sorry for not remembering right offhand, but you have Benjamin Netanyahu over there, the Prime Minister of Israel, and you have the people in Palestine and also in the West Bank and in the Gaza and all that. And, the big question, the big statement that is always made is that Israel has a right to defend itself. Well, so does everyone else, as far as I'm concerned. So you have the borders are wide open. They're just there. Let me make this statement. We no longer have borders. That's just the way it is. But we need to protect the United States. Now, the reason why I say we have no borders is because of what the Obama administration has done. So, we now have Texas Governor Rick Perry calling on 1,000 National Guard troops to go down to the border, okay, to stop the influx of illegal aliens. And here's the opposition. You have these immigration rights activists saying that they need, to have open borders. Well, you also have comprehensive immigration reform, which is nothing more than open borders policy. Okay, so let's not forget. Lest we forget, let us remember that we had the American Indians, who we call American Indians for a reason because they had another name. But let's remember that we had people here long before Western Europeans. And before that, we had people here on this continent long before Western Europeans or anybody else came here. Okay? So there's that to contend with. Who is the legal possessor of this continent? Well, now that things have transpired over the last 500 to 600 years or more, who's the rightful, possessor of this land? Well, it's the person on the land. It's the one who fought and won. And since that would be us, the United States of America citizens, well, we own the land. So my point is, we create a government, we have laws, and these laws are on the books, and they're there for a reason. Now, to have open borders and have people just coming right through, just whatever, is against the law, not against the people. So let's remember that as well. And it's always going to be seen as we are against the people. And the words that Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson always use is racist. We are not racist. We are a land of laws, governed by laws. And we are free people. But we have laws. So if you want to come to this country, no matter where you're from in the world, you do it legally. But the Democrats, yes, the Democrats want a full Congress made up of only them. Therefore, they want extra voters, more voters, a bigger population of people they can manipulate and bribe and also steal from. So this is something that has, has to be looked at and stopped, because it is what it is. Now, the other thing is that we got this thing going on in the Middle East. We have this thing happening in the Ukraine. We have all of that. And all of those people have a right to their land. I can't go to Denmark and just live off the system, could I? I couldn't go to Switzerland and just get welfare or whatever their system is, could I? No. I'd have to become a legal citizen to do that. I couldn't go to the Ukraine. I wouldn't want to right now, but no, you have to become a legal citizen. There are over 2.5 million at last count, last I saw, as I think it was 2010 or 2012 figures, was the fact that 2.5 million American citizens live in Mexico, married to Mexican women or men, either way. And again, in Canada, same thing. I couldn't go to Canada and just live off their system. I'd have to get a job. I'd have to do something, because no, they're not going to support me. Okay? But we are the only nation in the world that says, yeah, come here, we'll give you stuff for free. Now, when you work, you hardly get anything from the system, as I call it. You don't get any subsidies. You don't get any of that because of what you make. Well, wouldn't it stand to reason that we should get more from the government because we're working? Would it not benefit people better if you were working and get subsidies from the government? Because in that way, it's, consider it economic recycling, because you're paying into the system, but you're getting something out of it. Would that not be the most logical way to go? Not in this system that the Democratic Party and the people that control Washington, D.C., which are the bankers and the corporations, that's not what they want. They want to completely collapse this current economic and political system for their benefit, so that they can rule, and you are nothing more than a peasant, a slave, a subject in a kingdom. That's all they want. And if you don't believe me, go check it out. Now, this thing in the Ukraine, they're still battling over there. They're still fighting over there. Right? But the Ukrainian people, have a right to defend themselves. Okay? And they have a right to do what they do to perpetuate their living, their survival as individuals and as a group. So they do have a right to protect themselves. But Russian President Vladimir Putin got all pissed off and said they cannot secede from this, organization, this country, whatever, so we're going to go in there and make sure they don't. Well, that's a civil war, don't you think? We had one of those here in the United States of America back in 1861 to 1865. Worked out well for the South, didn't it? Okay? Now, that's past. Today, we're living history. We're living within the history in the making. Vladimir Putin has his views on why certain things have to be done over there, but here's the thing. It's all about the money. It's all about the flow of oil and natural gas, which is currently flowing underneath the continent of where the Ukraine is at this point. Now, Where is that coming from? You guessed it. President Vladimir Putin in Russia. They have it all nationalized. It's going through the Ukraine. It's going into the opposite direction on the other side of the Ukraine. But it's also going south. And if you look at that whole situation over there from the petroleum side of things, you'll see why Russia doesn't want Ukraine to have independence. Okay? This is a whole system that is even far beyond my understanding. But it basically boils down to this. He who has the power to, create, the power to regulate, and the power to distribute this stuff that, like the oil in that area, they rule. Well, it just goes to the street vernacular of he who has the most gold makes the rules. Okay, so think of it that way. Okay, so Russian President Vladimir Putin has he has the power to do what he does. Okay. Now, this thing in the Middle East, this thing with Israel, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, and his opposition over in the Palestinian area and over in the West Bank, it basically boils down to this. Two brothers, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, got pissed off at one another and decided to fight. And that's what's been happening for thousands of years. And this whole situation is never going to end. So if anybody is thinking, well, why don't they just stop and talk and discuss and get along? They can't. They won't. Because it's impossible. Because I don't even think they know right now today, as of the 21st of July, 2014, I don't even think they know what they're fighting about. I really don't think so. But the facts are the facts, and the facts are there. Okay? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, from some reports and some perspectives, is the aggressor in all of this. And the United States, once their ally, the United States has backed away from what they want to do, which is totally annihilate another, country. Okay? And when you look at the map of 1946, if you look at the map of the Palestinian area or Palestine, and you look at the map of Israel over from 1946 to 2012 or 2014, you're going to find that Israel is the aggressor in all of this and has been for many, many years. Okay? Now, some people would say, well, we need to support Israel. Why? You know what? Here's my position on it, and here's my comment on it. My position on it is this. Both countries have a right to defend themselves. Both countries have a right to live and be at peace, and just their people need to go out and they need to go to their jobs and their businesses and stuff, and they need to do what they do. They need to survive. Both people. Okay? Both sets of people in those areas. But somebody doesn't want somebody else to survive. So, when you look at the older maps, the older region of what Israel was and wants to be again, you will see that takes up a whole lot of real estate. Okay, seriously. So, what do? It boils down to this, folks. When you have two people or a group of people one and one group takes one side and one group takes another, you're always going to have somebody who is going to cause problems. You're always going to have someone pointing fingers, and blaming somebody else and all of this. You're always going to have that. It is no difference except for ideology. There is no difference in skin color, religion, whatever. It's ideology. It breaks it down to somebody standing at a line saying, I'm going to cross that line because I want what you have. And the other person says, okay, you cross that line, but I have a right to defend myself and my possessions. That's what it boils down to. And I don't care if it's the Middle East. I don't care if it's Israel. I don't care if it's Palestine. I don't care if it's Saudi Arabia or Switzerland or Russia or China or the United States. It does not matter. It boils down to two people who will not get along with one another, and one wanting to annihilate the other one and one wanting to survive. That's what it boils down to. I don't know how complicated that should be for those out there complicating the simplicity of all of it. It simply is 1 + 1 = 2, or in this case, 1 - 1 = 0, okay? It's one person wanting to take out someone else. And that's all it is. And then when you get egos involved, you get arrogance involved, you get ignorance involved, you get selfishness involved, you get all of these emotions, and you find yourself at the brink of not only annihilating a complete group of people, but when it comes right down to it, if you don't stop, you're going to annihilate yourself. Now, what does that accomplish? It accomplishes nothing. And therefore, this whole situation happening in the Ukraine with that thing going on, or happening in Israel with Palestinian people, that thing going on, or even here in the United States of America with what's happening today, you're always going to have opposition, and sooner or later the end result is those who oppose you will sooner or later annihilate themselves because of their arrogant ignorance on how to survive. This is the bottom line. Now, somebody may disagree with me, and that's okay. That's all right. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's the email address. You can go to my website at thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com and check that out as well. That's thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com. And check out the show there. I got the Wayne S. Pierce Show coming up. It may be a podcast. It might be live. I don't know. Tune in to find out. And I've got the Views Express Live coming up at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right there on freeamericaradio.us. And folks, I thank you for listening to this commentary and for this 21st of July, 2014. And go to thewaynespearceshow.weebly.com for more information. In the meantime, enjoy your Monday. Have a great day.